Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video we will be talking about this large snowstorm that is occurring across the south. It will be moving into the northeast and a lot of snow will be falling along the way, a lot of ice, a lot of freezing rain, a lot of sleet. So we'll be digesting that. I also will be going over the long range, what to expect once this pattern kind of breaks. No king rules forever, including this polar vortex. Okay, if you guys would like to subscribe to this channel just before we get into this, it's a great way to support it. You could also click the thumbs up button if you enjoy the content. Otherwise, at least I could, if you're not, at least I could hopefully provide a bit of useful information. Okay, so I want to start off by looking at the National Weather Service Weather Ready Nation map, and look at this. So look how many warnings we have, and watches, and advisories. So it's not as extensive as we had from the first system, but across the south, and the southeast, the mid-Atlantic, it's across many similar locations, which is obviously a concern, especially across Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, northern Louisiana. We had already a lot of snow and more is on the way. I think Little Rock right now, the latest report says around 6 inches has fallen of the new snow. And that's on top of the almost foot of snow that they got a couple days ago. Notice you do have some flood watches, some flash flood advisories across the south as some very heavy rain will be falling across those locations yet again. You can see that the cause for concern is there. There are some winter weather advisories to the north. That is because of the ice, really not because of the snow. And the severe weather risk is there. It's a slight risk. It's not huge, but it's there, and you'll know if you're under a severe thunderstorm. It's pretty wild. Okay, warnings, watches across the Northeast. Let's start off by quickly looking at how much snow the National Weather Service is forecasting. So this is probably the best estimate of snow you could get. They look at hundreds of models, right? Hundreds of models, tons of data, and they figure out what can you expect. Okay, let's take it to hour 60, hour 66 through this whole system. Notice an additional 3 to 4 inches across Little Rock potentially, which is quite insane, the snow depth they have there. By the way, Oklahoma City may be breaking their all-time record for their snowiest winter. I looked at their snowfall amount for this season. They are at 21 inches. I don't know if that was accounting for the snow that fell yesterday or today, but chances are they might get there. The snowiest season of all, I think, is at 25.2 inches or somewhere around the 25-inch mark, and that was in 1947. They are 3 inches away from that currently. So a heck of a season for Oklahoma. And, you know, that winter did not just start now. It's been going on ever since November. They've been getting absolutely pummeled. For a while, they had way more snow than Chicago did. Okay, additional snow into Tennessee. Look, Nashville, Central Tennessee, 3 to 4 inches potentially. Cincinnati, 1 to 2 inches. Kentucky, 3 to 4 inches, right? Across the Northeast, they really did increase those amounts. Washington, D.C. is, again, one of those cities that's on the border. And Maryland as well. You could see northern locations could get well over a foot. Southern locations could get well over a tenth of an inch. So the range is pretty big. And you can see 7, 8 inches is pretty widespread across Long Island, northern New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. So New York City, yes. Philadelphia, yes, probably seeing over 6 inches. Boston, probably the same. Hartford, Providence. And obviously the purple is 6 inches plus, but we do have those little amounts. Again, these could be a bit off. I would say probably, if anything, on the lower side. But for now, I would say that's the best estimate. So not a blockbuster system, but still a significant system nonetheless. Looking at the radar, just for the folks that are wondering, I'm recording this at 3:40 p.m. Central Standard Time. So this is my Chicago radar here off of WGN. So this time given isn't Central Standard. So across the east, it's 4:40. Across the west, it's depending of 2:40, and the Pacific, it's around 1:40. Notice that. Let's play this radar back for the last 6 hours. This was 9:55 in the morning. Notice that we did have some light snow across Missouri, past through St. Louis, into portions of Minnesota and Iowa. And look at this system, right? So we did see the snow across Dallas, Oklahoma. It has moved away since then, and you can see this is a very heavy snow. Pummeling Little Rock, Arkansas, with a lot of snow. Northern Mississippi, Louisiana, depending where, but mostly are either in ice, sleet, or some snow, especially towards the very north. Notice we still do have a bit of snow occurring on the backside of this, and there could be some kind of bands, as you'll see what the models show, of reinforcing developments of snow kind of across the Texas area. I wouldn't say significant amounts are likely, right? But they're already in such a bad situation right now that any more snow would probably be just insult to injury. Notice, right, Memphis right now seeing very, very good amounts of snow. Nashville, it's pushing into your area. You are going to see at least several hours of solid snow. You can see that it is far away from you, the rain snow line for now, but it will get pretty close as this pushes to the north. Look at that, a lot of precipitation getting funneled in. This will move to the north and east, obviously drop a lot of snow. Okay, taking a look at total snowfall reports from the last, let's go 12 hours, as that's when this system has been kind of occurring. Actually, let's just go 24 and focus on the right here. Look, Amarillo got around 8 inches, probably a bit more as you got towards the eastern side of that Amarillo city, right? And then notice Oklahoma City by itself picked up around, let's see if we were able to zoom in on this. You can see picked up around right there 3 inches, and that's just northwest. Generally 3 to 4 inches, not a huge event, but to the south there were greater amounts of snow. Notice, right, 3, 4 amounts were almost 6 inches. Then notice into Missouri there was 4 to 3 inches as well, so not bad. Arkansas here are where the amounts started picking up quite a bit. Little Rock at 6 inches, 7 inches, and it's still snowing. To the south, heavier amounts, and if you were to look at the radar, again, it's still snowing, so some double-digit amounts are probably likely, especially since these reports are from 2:55, which is already an hour ago. They probably have an additional inch, probably additional 3 could fall, so maybe Prescott, Arkansas could end up with probably close to 13, 14 inches when all is done. The snowpack, I don't know how much it is, but I would assume it very significant. Further to the north and east, we do have some lake effect snow that occurred. Some delayed snowfall reports from the first system still kind of getting reported. And just to show you the scope of the first system, ridiculous amounts. I mean, this is now starting to combine in the south with the first and second snow. But you can see this is how many places picked up snow. Birmingham picked up some snow. Alabama, while it wasn't significant, it was there nonetheless. Not crippling like it was across Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas. And obviously Indiana got a bit, Ohio, Michigan, and look at that. Some of those amounts right there in Utah, 47 inches. Quite a bit. I don't know if I told you, but my snowpack here, right outside my backyard, I measured it was at 31 inches in some locations. That was not accounting for drifts. You know, obviously drifts are well into the 4-foot range, but I would say around 27 to 30 inches is the estimate for my backyard, which is I've never had such a big snow pack ever. And hopefully that starts melting because I'm starting my seeds indoors, and I'm starting to itch for spring. Okay, let's take a look at the models now. So this is the GFS, and the newest model run is just starting to come in, 75 hours old, or 75 hours upgraded in, kind of. That's how far it goes as of now. That's all it has processed. Look at this. So take a look at Memphis, Nashville, Kentucky, right? You're going to see snow. Oh, this is now at around, say 9 o'clock today in the afternoon. A lot of snow still occurring across Nashville. Possibly, more snow occurring than what the National Weather Service has to say. Look at that. Spreading into West Virginia, Indiana, Ohio, even northern Illinois could get some light snow. It won't be significant, but some light snow. Moving out of Arkansas, but notice these little batches of precip still kind of hanging around, and potentially some redevelopment of some snow and ice even as late as tomorrow, 6 a.m. in the morning. So definitely something to watch for, as that may catch you off guard, thinking that, it's all over, as there will be a pretty large break between these two little events. Little, again, not little, they're pretty big. Okay, notice that the system does start breaking apart as it pushes into eastern Kentucky, eastern Tennessee. Obviously, some mixing starts occurring, but we start seeing a reinforcement. If you recall, yesterday I was saying that the system will probably go through several cycles, right, of kind of waves of new waves. This one is going under one at around probably 12 o'clock tomorrow in the afternoon to 6 a.m. in the morning, kind of that time frame. And new one starts developing as it interacts with the Atlantic moisture, and you can see that it starts dropping pretty good amounts of snow and ice across DC, Maryland. Again, snow still spreading possibly way back into Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, right? Something to watch for, as that can be pretty impressive. As we push this forward, notice, look at that, New York City, Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, picking up more of that snow. You can see this first one kind of weakening, right, as this pushes into late tomorrow in the afternoon. And then look at that, right there. We see the system bringing, according to the GFS, quite a bit of sleet and ice into New York City, which again is probably one of the more northern scenarios with this storm. And it keeps it there for a while, for sure. Prolonged event, and you can see it dumps quite a bit of snow into Boston, Long Island. So, I would not be surprised to see kind of a mix-up of a underperforming and a overperforming in some sites with this system. As you can see that the GFS keeps it, keeps the heaviest amounts away from New York City and dumps it more across Boston, Connecticut, Rhode Island. there will be snow here, but a bit less. And this system is kind of going to be tricky. I mean, let's just run this through, and you can see that there's many waves to this, right? You can see, right, this is one occurring right now, pretty strong. It kind of falls apart, redevelops across the northeast, and right there you can see pushes into more of the upstate in New York area, into Albany, more of central Pennsylvania, into Connecticut, into portions of New England. This system could be just moving out of here come Saturday, and maybe even lingering into potentially Sunday across Canada, which sometimes these systems take just one day. This one will take 4 days, as it's Wednesday. Total snowfall, according to the GFS Kuchera, which again I warn you, this is just one model. This is what it shows. You can see 3 to 4, 5 inches across Kentucky, Tennessee. The reason behind these lower amounts, even though the band will be pretty strong in terms of moisture, the snowfall ratios will be pretty wet and or low towards especially the end of the snow time frame when the rain starts mixing in. The northeast, you can see decent amounts. Doesn't center New York City across the heavier amounts. Again, the GFS is a bit of a northern scenario with this. Let's take a look at the GFS version 16. Another, I said again, a model that competes with the European for accuracy. And you can see that it centers more of that heavy snow further to the south, which I think is what the National Weather Service thinks will happen and what most other models say. But look at that. It does include some decent amounts across Tennessee and Kentucky, potentially reaching 6, 7 inches, which again, I am not excluding. I would not be surprised, for example, to tomorrow go on this weather reporting website, snow reporting, and see some 6, 7 inch amounts, either in Nashville, Knoxville, or somewhere in between. Doesn't mean that there will be widespread 6 or 7 inches, but if you do pick up that amount, don't be too surprised. Just be prepared. Look at New York City, potentially 5, 4 inches, so a bit later with that, and 4 to 5 inches across Boston. That's assuming a Kuchera. It doesn't take it through the entirety of the event. I mean, mostly, but there's still a bit of lingering snow across the northeast at around Saturday morning. So this isn't a full storm, but for the most part, it's what's to expected. Canadian model, just to quickly show you, let's take it a bit further out so we have a bigger scope without including this new system, which could be happening across the Midwest. You can see decent amounts across the little Arkansas area of additional snow. This is from noon today, so it is now 3 o'clock. So some of this expected snow obviously is probably more like 4 inches rather than 7, as probably 3 has fallen since 12 o'clock here. And notice that across Ohio, right, they do show a bit of additional snow. Canadian more than expected from other models, but generally you can see that they do kind of differ quite a bit. But in general, they do place New York City, Philadelphia, DC under some generous amounts of snow. I wouldn't say over a foot, but over 6 inches seems to be likely across numerous areas. Okay, let's take a look at now the European, right? The champion of all models, and I still think it's a pretty good model, regardless of its underperformance the last few days. Okay, total snowfall, 10-to-1 ratio, which may be a bit high for some of these locations, hence why there's some locations showing 9 inches here, which I think may be a bit overdone, but European in terms of the track, I think does a pretty good job. Actually centers the heavy snow just south of New York City. So again, while even if the system is on a meteorological scale well forecasted and actually happens like predicted, there could still be a shocking, amount of snow across New Jersey, and that could go both ways in terms of the shock. Either, well, we expected 6, now we're seeing just 1. Oh, we expected 1, now we're seeing 6. It's just because of the dynamics of the system. It's in so many waves. It's not just a full-on rain-snow line, solid snow to the north, solid rain to the south. It's going to be changing throughout the cycle of the system. So, again, this is the general track. The exact cities, go to your National Weather Service and refer to their forecasts. Again, I do think that this is probably the best forecast you could look at, but some of these amounts are probably a bit overdone, especially maybe across Philadelphia. There could be a sharper cutoff for sure. Well, I do think that some 6-inch amounts are possible, probably favored to the north and west. Okay, let's take a look at some of the high-res models. So I showed you what the global models are showing. Let's time this out hour by hour and show you what is expected. So let's go to the RAP, which is a high-resolution model that goes out to 51 hours. And unfortunately, it only goes out to 51 hours every 6 hours, right? And the one that goes out to 51 hours is just coming in, so I have to go 6 hours back, which is a bit more than I'd prefer with such high-res models. but the data really stayed the same. You could see it showed a lot of snow across Arkansas. That seemed to happen. It does start introducing quite a bit of ice into Mississippi, and as of this point, it's still mainly snow, or at least just beginning to transition over to the ice in northern Missouri, that is. In southern Mississippi. I don't know if I've been saying Missouri. I meant Mississippi. In central Mississippi, it is already ice, but that will continue marching northward. Look at this, spreading into potentially Kentucky, southern Indiana by around, say this is 8 o'clock. So this is 7, this is 6, 7, 8, 9. Again, this is Central Standard Time Zone, so add an hour if you're across the east. This is 10, 11, 12. So this is midnight. You can see mostly out of Arkansas, still some light snow potentially across the northeastern portions into Tennessee as well, Mississippi, southern Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky. Most of Kentucky seeing snow by midnight at some pretty good rates. Look at this, plowing forward. This is at around 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. The morning commute is beginning. 7 o'clock, you can see DC is a mess. It's either wintry mix to the south and ice, or snow to the north, and a bit of rain. Again, it could be falling pretty heavily at times, probably a bit underrepresented by this RAP model. And notice that the snow is now spreading into New York City by early tomorrow morning. Right, so this is now into 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, or 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock if you live across the east. This is now 12, 1, 2. You can see some more snow potentially redeveloping across Kentucky. Again, several waves of the system. Sleet getting probably into Philadelphia at this point, into portions of southern New Jersey. That looks to be sleet, not freezing rain, so at least that's good. But again, these precip types sometimes throw people off and can be unpredictable. So just expect a wintry mess for sure. And then you can see as we push this into now towards 6 p.m. in the afternoon, the rain snow line getting close to New York City, right? 7, 8, 9, pushing into Boston, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine. 10, 11, 12 o'clock, still snowing across Philadelphia, you can see, or I should say Pennsylvania, maybe just north of Philadelphia, New York City. And it stays around for quite a while, to say the least. And as soon as you think it's done, it could, spawn another little wave of showers. So just keep an eye on this. At this point, this is what the radar looks like at around 7 o'clock in the morning Friday, and then finally towards the afternoon hours it starts clearing out. In terms of total snowfall, according to the RAP, total snowfall Kuchera, which is estimated for the cold or warm air, you can see it goes pretty heavy. A lot of this right here will be probably as sleet falling, so I would not be too excited about these amounts that far to the south, but I do think, say Wilmington across extreme Delaware could pick up 6 inches. Maybe DC if it's more of a southern scenario. Snow probably, right? But 6 inches, 8 inches, probably on the higher side of things. According to this model, New York City 8, 9, 7 inches, which again, that's what the National Weather Service agrees with. Lighter amounts here, but again, I would not be expected to see some 6-inch amounts. And as you get towards Boston, lighter amounts, but still decent amounts, right? Philadelphia 6, 7 inches. New York City 8, upstate New York, Albany around the 4 or 5 inch mark. Erie not picking much out of this. Cleveland 3 to 4 inches. Cincinnati 2 to 3 inches. Into Northern Virginia, right, 7, 9 inches. And a lot of the winter storm warnings that are issued for Southern Virginia and North Carolina are not because of the snow, as you saw on this map that I showed you earlier. Let me go find it. Where are you? Come on. Right here, but that's because of the ice. And if I were to click on these locations, say Danville, across extreme Southern Virginia, you can see that most of it is wintry mix, freezing rain. A bit of snow is possible, as you can see indicated by that snowflake and that wintry mix icon. But mainly ice, and there could be quite a bit of it. Half an inch tonight or Thursday, 2/10 right there. So I'm a bit surprised why they haven't issued an ice storm warning for such heavy amounts. Maybe they will, but again, regardless, ice is ice. It's dangerous at no matter what amount. And this is what they're showing. You can see a 10th to 3/10 of an inch. Sorry, a 10th through 7/10 of an inch, which is a lot of ice. And if that were to happen, that would be a damaging ice storm. This is what they're showing, that this is probably going to be the likely view across these locations. Again, hopefully that doesn't happen, but at this point it's looking likely. Georgia, I already looked at this, but you can see that there is a flash flood watch. That's for quite a bit of rain. Rain totals 1 to 2, if not higher, across some thunderstorm-prone areas, or I should say, where the thunderstorms track, there could be 1 to 2 inches. And I do want to quickly say that after this snowstorm, right, this system passes out, moves away, the pattern looks active. And just to show you, this is what the mid-Atlantic looks like for the next 15 days, how much more snow could fall. A lot of variations. Some models show more snow across the south and east, and very little to the north, while some kind of cut it out there, show the last little event today and show a lot more to the north. A lot of variance, but the pattern, just to keep it short and sweet, looks active, and it's still on the chilly side. It will definitely feel like a warm-up because of how cold it has been, especially across the southern central United States, the plains, Iowa, Missouri, Illinois. But it will definitely not be, I would say, warm or much above average for a late February standards. As you can see, a lot of snow potential is still ongoing. And if I were to show you, for example, the GFS version 16 model, which again is a great model that goes up very far and I think rivals with the European for accuracy. Let's go back to its midnight or noon model run, so it goes up further. So we have that system, right? Pushes away, and look at that. Our next system already on Sunday, Monday across the Midwest, maybe more snow into Minnesota, Wisconsin, and more across the Northeast. Cold, but not, bitter. Oh, Texas does warm up, so folks across the South seeking warmth and relief, you will get that. And notice, the GFS version 16 keeps introducing snow across the Northeast, the Midwest, Chicago, Indiana. Again, this is very far out, and there's many models showing different things, as I showed you on that one composite graph. But for example, this one takes a system and develops a very strong nor'easter, which actually quite a few show that there could be chances for some pretty significant snowstorms across the Northeast. Look at this. The GFS version 16 develops a monster across North Dakota, Minnesota, which would obviously drop a lot of snow for these snow-starved locations. There's actually one location across North Dakota, one spot that hasn't seen, it's kind of like a bald spot. They haven't seen more than 3 inches through this whole season. It's quite ridiculous. And look at that. In the future, ice, snow, pretty far to the south again, but more across the southeast. Again, very active, obviously warming. At this point, the temperatures will be pretty warm 384 hours out compared to what we've been seeing, which has just been barbaric. You can see, definitely moderating. To the north, chilly, but to the south, more spring-like. Still, though, probably on the colder side. Speaking of that very cold snow that bald spot across the North Dakota area, here's the seasonal snow. Look, there are some locations right there which have seen around 3 to 4 inches through the whole season. That's pretty sad. Portions of Mississippi have seen more than that, right? So I think they'll again fill in as more snow is on its way for these locations. All right, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you all guys on the next episode. See ya.